Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Jason Park. I'm a feature filmmaker. I'm currently working on my fifth film, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about not chasing perfection when you're shooting your indie film, right? So, this is coming from the perspective of indie filmmaking, it's coming from the perspective of limited resources, right? And when I sit there and I say, hey, don't chase perfection, excuse me, this doesn't mean that you don't want to make a well-lit film, a film that sounds good, or a good film in general. What I mean is, don't worry about the things that the audience just don't care about. And what I mean by that is, like, so when you're making your project, right, and you have this scene where there's this actor is coming into the scene, right, and it's a simple line, it's a one-liner, right? And let's say the question is, hey, where's the chicken? Don't get caught up on, hey, where's the chicken? Hey, where's the chicken? Like in the script, if the purpose is just a question and there's nothing that is attached to that line, don't get caught up on it. Hey, where's the chicken? Okay, cool. Let's just move on, right? If it's something that's impactful to later on in the film, then of course, spend a little more time on that, get it right. That's from a performance perspective. But what I mean about, hey, don't chase perfection is something as simple as lighting, right? The audience doesn't care. And we're not talking about other actors. We're not talking about other directors. We're not talking about cinephiles that's all they do, right? They put everything on a high scale and it's all compared to the greatest films. We're talking about the average everyday consumer. If the scene is lit well enough, then it doesn't have to be perfect. Because I promise you, that extra shadow right here to give you that little triangle right here, nobody cares. Nobody cares, right? It's like, is your story good? Is it lit well enough? Does it sound good? After you have the first two of, is it lit well enough and does it sound good? Then the story is going to carry it all the way through, right? The perfection is irrelevant. That movie right there, Pizza Boy Rick, that got picked up by the CW, right? That movie, Always Smile, that's still being submitted to Sundance and the Atlanta Film Festival and stuff. Four Amigos, that's everywhere. I put it out, I re-released it and recut it as a director's cut as Fast Atlanta. It's like, is there moments where the lighting's not absolutely perfect? Absolutely. Is there moments where it could have been done better? Absolutely. But, are you going to miss the shot because, you spent so much more time on one thing where you have to shoot these projects within 5 days or 7 days? You have to shoot 7 scenes in 4 hours, right? You have to ask yourself, before you go to set that day and you're like, okay, I got to shoot these 7 scenes in 4 hours, because everybody's time is valuable. Even if, they're doing it pro bono or they're doing it for $100 day rate, whatever it is, everybody's time is valuable, right? Especially if they're lending you their time. It's like, okay, how can I get the most out of this moment without impacting the actors or the crew, the most, right? Impacted them the least amount possible. So when you know that you have 7 scenes to get done in 4 hours, you can't spend 3 hours on one scene, because then you're just not going to make your day. That's why when I stress this and I say, hey, don't worry about the perfection of circumstances and things when it comes to making your film, this is exactly what I mean. Because when you lack resources, then you have to get very creative. And through that creativity, you have to also cram more into a smaller increment of time than someone else, another filmmaker or director that has a resource, right? That has $1 million or $100,000 or $50,000 to put into their film. They may be able to spend a little more time on that particular shot. But I'm here to tell you guys, none of these films are, considered perfect, where every scene is just perfect. but it's good enough. The lighting's good enough, right? The sound is good enough. And at that point, we live in a day and age where so much content is available that, you know, the seriousness of films, the respect of films, that weight that they carried in the 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000s, in 2024, it's just not that serious. The weight is just not the same because it's no longer the thing that you looked forward to do, right? Back in the 90s and prior and early 2000s, my generation, film was the entertainment. It was the thing that consumed us. Now, there is an endless sea of content in different aspects that consume us. So I say all that to say this: make the best project you can. Enjoy the process and being out there with your fellow actors and friends. Enjoy the creativity, because when you get to the end of it and you're done with the project, right? You're done filming, the post-production is done, it's out into the world. You're gonna feel two things. You're gonna have a little self-accomplishment, like, okay, cool, I did that. And then you're gonna feel like, okay, well, what else is there? There's no grand thing that comes over you. There's no grand change in who you are as a human being. It's almost like you're the same person that you were prior to finishing the film, but now you know that you can finish a film. That's really the difference. But, you know, one thing I never try to do is chase perfection, because nothing's perfect, right? There hasn't been a film that I've watched where I'm like, man, that was just perfect. Because everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a perspective. Everything artful or creative is subjective. It's just, you know, you're putting it out into the world to be judged. You do the best that you can do with the resources that you have in the time that you have, and you let that go. Don't hold on to it. You let that go. I'm Jason Park with Hyper 2 Productions. I'll talk to you guys soon.